Arman Tsarukyan is taking on Mateusz Gamrot in a highly anticipated lightweight scrap back at the Apex Center in Vegas, and I have the betting tips, technical breakdown and prediction for you. Hey guys, welcome back to Ascendant MMA. This week we have a fan favourite special with two rising contenders in the lightweight division. Arman Tsarukyan taking on Mateusz Gamrot. We're going to break down this fight from a technical angle, provide our insight and prediction on the main event and a few other fights that catch our eye. Just a heads up, if you like the content and you want to see us continue making these types of videos, give us a like, show us a thumbs up on this one and subscribe to the channel down below. A quick recap from last week, we went 2-1 on picks. We hit the perfect pick on Jeremiah Wells via first round KO. And we also picked Adrian Yanez to beat Tony Kelly. However, we picked Calvin Kattar to beat Josh Emmett in the main event. Personally, I had that one 3-2 to Calvin, but I can see how the judges scored it the other way, and I just don't think Calvin did enough to definitively secure that fight. This was last week's betting cards up here. We had a bunch of bets voided due to the Joe Lozon and Cerrone fight getting called off, but overall in the night we ended up plus 4.88 units, which is a great result. We're super active over on our Instagram at Ascendant.MMA. The tag will be here, and we break down several other fights that we don't cover in this video. So give us a follow over there, and without further ado, let's get into the breakdowns. So the first fight I want to break down is Umar Nurmagomedov versus Nate Maness. So you hear that last name and instantly you're scared, and it's exactly what you expect. Elite wrestler, typical Dagestani wrestling game. You know, he's got great shots, got smothering top pressure, and he's got a great ability to just ride the back and just transition those positions consistently. He's good moving forward. I like that he finishes a lot of his combos with kicks, and he's also good moving backwards. So he's got good, nice footwork on the outside, and he looks to counter that sloppy defense if it's there. His ability to time shots, also ducking underneath big overhands or crosses or whatnot, and transition up and take the back is just so high level. He's also just a great kickboxer. He's got a great variety of kicks that he uses. Probably a better kicker than he is a boxer. Maness is pretty decent boxer. He's got a nice 1-2 down the pipe. He's got quite a sharp and quick jab. He does allow himself to get pushed back against the fence, and he is pretty heavy on his lead leg. In his fights, he's generally kind of behind till he's not. He got starched by Gravely, got saved by the bell and then came out and starched him, which was great. He was losing the Luke Sanders fight, and then he came back. Just can't afford to do that here against Umar. I know Umar's going to be a huge favorite. I don't know exactly what the odds are, but Maness is just, you know, he's not going to be able to keep Umar off him. I think Umar can compete on the feet, but I think once he shoots, it's just going to be game over. Maness will try and catch him on the feet. I think Umar will go under. I think he'll work a single. I think he'll end up on the back, and I think he'll choke him out via rear naked choke in round 1. So the pick's Umar by submission in round 1. The next fight I want to break down is New Zealand's Carlos Ulberg versus Tafon Nchukwi. So this fight's super interesting to me. I think both guys are pretty low level in terms of they're quite green. You know, I think they've only had like 7 or 8 fights, and they're in the UFC. I probably rate Tafon's game a little bit higher. You know, he's a slow plodding striker, but he's got good power, decent head movement. His defense is quite good. Yeah, he's just got a lot of power behind what he throws, and I quite like his game. He's got decent shots and wrestling as well if he has to. Carlos Ulberg, coming out of that city kickboxing team, quite athletic, but I just don't think he's a great fighter, to be honest with you. He looks the part and he looks like an athlete, and his athleticism has carried him to this stage, but I just don't think it's going to continue to get him these wins. And yeah, this is an interesting one because, you know, he's quite a big light heavyweight. He'll usually have a bit of an advantage in the reach, but he doesn't have that here against Tafon. And normally Carlos will kind of work off the back of his jab, try and use his straight shots to elongate his reach, and just stay out of the firing line. But I don't think he's going to have that against Tafon here. And we also have seen him fade, you know, when he's pressured or when he's on the back foot, and I think Tafon can do that here. I'm not sure of the odds. Ulberg, you know, he potentially, you know, he has the chance to cruise to a decision win, I think, but I just don't think Tafon's going to get out of there. You know, Fabio Charant had the opportunity to do what I think Tafon's going to do. I think he's just going to stalk him, got good power. I think he's going to, you know, chop at that lead leg, and I think that eventually Carlos will be available for a big hook. I think Tafon's going to catch him, and I think he's going to put him down, but the pick's going to be Tafon via KO in round 2. The next fight we're going to break down is Neil Magny versus Shavkat Rakhmanov. So Neil Magny's just, you know, he's as game as they come here. He's fresh off beating Max Griffin, which is a decent win, and he instantly called for a shot against Hamza, which he didn't get. Stars didn't align for that one. Instead, he's tasked here with derailing another huge prospect in the welterweight division in Shavkat Rakhmanov. Generally, we'll look to pick the experienced veteran against the surging contender, but in this case, I just think it's quite a bad matchup for Magny, to be honest with you. Shavkat has incredibly 100% finish rate. He's pretty dangerous everywhere. He's got great wrestling, great grappling when it does get on the ground, and his striking is just explosive, elite, and powerful. He mixes up his striking really nicely with a dynamic kicking game at distance, and he throws lethal knees up the middle when he's in the clinch. Cardio is generally an issue for these guys that are explosive finishes, but in the later rounds, I don't think Shavkat will have an issue if it gets there because he's very technical with what he throws and he doesn't overextend and overexert himself. I just don't think we'll see a weaker version of Shavkat in the later rounds if it does get there. And Magny isn't defensively sound in the first round, quite a slow starter when he does absorb damage early, so that's a little bit of a worry here. Obviously, the more experienced and the lengthier fighter, he's generally will have like 7 inches of reach or more to his advantage. He's not going to have that here, which I think is a key part. The distance management is going to be a crucial part of this fight. He needs to be the one dictating range, defending the kicks, circling out, and just working off the back of his jab. Basically, being in any other range is just gonna play into Shavkat's hands. Magny doesn't have the best takedown defense, we know this, and grappling. He's got a little bit of low fight IQ, I think. Like, I remember backing him in the Chiesa fight, and oh god, it was just a frustrating watch that he kept engaging even though he was losing the battle in the clinch. It was really frustrating to watch. Elite grapplers have their way with him. I'm not saying that Shavkat's elite, we don't know that yet, but I think he definitely could. I just think this is a super bad matchup for Magny. Shavkat's got all the tools to just handle this fight. I think Magny just doesn't have enough weapons against him. I see the fight going like this. I see Shavkat pressuring Magny up against the cage, forcing him to get his hands up, cover up. Then I think he'll shoot. I think he'll maybe work a single, trip him, get on top, whether it's by ground and pound because he does go for finishes, or he makes him cover up, give up his back, and then finish him. Yeah, we're definitely going to see a finish here for Shavkat, and yeah, the pick's going to be Shavkat by sub in round 1. Now, onto the main event, Arman Tsarukyan versus Mateusz Gamrot. We all know in the lead up to this fight, we're going to hear about the, Arman on debut fighting Islam. It was a great watch because, he definitely matched Islam in that wrestling component. He looked really solid in the clinch and pressuring up against the cage. In his last fight against Joel Alvarez, we actually took a shot on Alvarez. I thought the odds were really nice and he got absolutely dominated. He's got great pressure when he's on top. He just, constantly works. He'll punch the body, punch the head, punch the body, punch the head, which is all designed to kind of distract you, and then he'll come down with those vicious elbows that we saw in that fight. He's just a smart fighter. He's a cerebral fighter. He knows where his advantages are and he exploits them. He's really good at chain wrestling positions. He'll throw a hook to kind of close the distance, and then he'll shoot on a single and just work through there. He's got a really nice switch kick that he changes his target from the head, body to leg, and he'll just try and mix it up and catch you off guard. He's got really nice movement, circles well, and he's actually just got quite good defense. He's also got a nice jab setup where he'll throw a power jab, he'll reset, power jab, reset, and then he'll fake the jab so that his opponent covers up expecting the jab, and then he'll throw the cross immediately down the pipe trying to catch him off guard. He does worry me a little bit in transition with his defense. He's great, with his combos and defense on the outside, but on his way in and out, I think he potentially can be caught. I just like his variety of kicks. He's got a good teep up the middle, good outside leg kick, spinning back kicks he throws a lot as well, and it just complements his game really nicely. Gamrot, southpaw, but switches sometimes. I think he looks more comfortable out of southpaw though. When he does shoot, it is out of southpaw, so I think he's used to being on that right knee, shooting from that right knee. He's had an elite fight with Guram. That was a sick fight. They both showed really good technique there. In that, he showed his body defense can sometimes be exploited with kicks, so I think that's going to be a big one for Arman here. He got dropped in that fight, but rallied, super close. I did give it to Guram, but it was a great fight. He's an elite grappler. He's proven himself over in Poland, being KSW champ, multiple 5-round fights, and he's got really just beautiful timing on his level changing and kind of catching kicks. In his last fight against Diego Ferreira, I was a little bit worried because he looked like he was fading in that second round, and it kind of wasn't a particularly brutal pace. Carlos did stuff a few shots, but other than that, it wasn't kind of wild, so that I'm a little bit worried about that. He does have prior 5-round fights. Before coming into this doing the tape, I thought this was going to be a 50-50 fight. The odds don't indicate that, but that's what I thought, and I think that's what most fans think, but I don't think this fight is going to be particularly close. Arman's a young guy. He's 25, 26. We've seen that people make leaps and bounds when they're that age. Sometimes they might be green, but he's so cerebral. I think we're going to see a great version of him on the feet. I think it's probably pretty close. There's no particular reach advantage or anything like that I'm too worried about, but if Gamrot's fighting at a southpaw, I expect Arman to be peppering those body kicks in, outside leg kicks, trying to get him to switch stances. Arman's probably the better striker, but I think it's pretty close on the feet. And then when it gets to the ground, I don't see Gamrot out wrestling him. He's just, Arman's transitions, he never stops his chain wrestling. It's just next level. Sure that Gamrot can match it, and if he does match it, it'll be for the first 2 rounds. But after that, does he have the gas tank? I don't know. I haven't seen Arman over 5 rounds, but he just looks like that type of fighter that is just consistent, knows his output, and knows what he has to do to get to that 5th round. I'm hoping we see a really good fight here, but I honestly think that Arman can just take over and have his way against Gamrot. Gamrot's 31, 32, so he's not too old. Yeah, I think Arman's going to work off the back of the jab. I think his kicks are going to be key. I think the body kick, the teep, I think he's going to sap that gas tank. I think we're going to see Gamrot fade probably after the 2nd or 3rd round, where I think Arman's going to ramp up the pressure. I think he's going to, keep wrestling, put on the pressure when it does get on the ground, use his ground and pound, and I think he's going to get him out of there, and I think he's going to get him out of there in the 4th round. This could go to the judge's decision, depending on what kind of Gamrot we see, but I think Arman gets him out of there. I don't think it goes the full 5, so the pick's going to be Arman via TKO in round 4. So that wraps up the breakdown for UFC Vegas 57 this weekend, guys. Stay tuned to our YouTube. We're in for a massive year. Don't forget to chuck us a like if you enjoyed the breakdown, and subscribe to keep you in the loop. As I said earlier, head over to the Instagram at Ascendant MMA. It'll be here as we're posting super regular in-depth text breakdowns for all the other fights that we didn't break down here. And we also give out our betting cards for the week, as we showed you earlier in the video. We love interacting with the community, and we're always conversing with people back and forth in the DMs about fights, so go over in there and check us out. The record for the year is looking really good. Before this, I think I was 49-18 on picks. I think Ryan was a little bit behind. I think he might have been 47 for 21, but pretty close in that area. So we're having a really good year, and we're winning units most weeks. So we're having a successful year. So come over there and check us out. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that?